All right, let me know if you can hear. I'm trying to be here for an hour, okay? Want to give everyone some information. It's really been a lot of massive, massive negativity. Lots of negativity. You know what I'm saying? No one's really building. Um, no one's, and we're all having to answer people that have just stolen spotlights. It's almost like we have to answer people that are at their 15 minutes of fame. You know what I mean? Like, I've never seen such long extensions of 15 minutes of fame. You know, um, yeah, it's just unbelievable, unbelievable. I'm gonna be here to answer questions. If you emailed me, I did get them. The latest emails. I'm gonna be answering them during the weekend. Certain people I'll be giving you a call or whatnot, so we can build VC Realm, Peace, Justice Born. Um, I'm gonna be here for 1 hour exactly. Okay, so at the build hour, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go through some brief ideas of what the notes will look like for my 1 to 10 plus lesson. I haven't written it yet, but kind of like the vein I want to go 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 through with it, like what we're actually um, what I'm actually gonna put in there and things like that. The kind of vibe. I never want to just put answers. I always want to make it more of a worksheet, helping you find the right questions, right framework. At times, answer the questions that need to be answered because they can't be. You know what I mean? Unless you're instructed. Um, but really, any question you have. Yeah, we try not to deal with negativity. I think this week has been very a lot of negativity around me. You know what I'm saying? Um, Near physical confrontations, things like that. Um, and that's when whatever training you have to learn how to avoid conflict, to deal with conflict, to deal with resolution, to deal with physical confrontation. All these things, um, they come into play, and they really did for me this week, at least. But also making sure that that doesn't take the energy from certain moments in this week that were extremely positive, right? So, um, and I'm just interested because we say we're drawn to negativity, but negativity, being drawn to negativity, isn't always immediately wrong because we're defending ourselves, or we're often stuck in a position to preemptively defend ourselves, to see what is out there seeking to hurt. So this is gonna happen, like I look at the Inf Mega, right? Allah Infinite, who does the great Allah School of Mecca page channel on YouTube, put up a deep build about called the misunderstandings of Lord Jamal. I think that was what it was called, right? And it's got it's got a ridiculous amount of views and 616 comments. Only people that aren't really listening to what is being said there and taking it in are seeing. It's not somebody that's being vilified. It's someone that has been vilified. Of course, I'm saying that from firsthand because, and I mention it because I'm in the video, because I was spoken about, and if Mega answered to that as well as an idea, and I'm grateful. Very, very grateful, you know. Um, I never really got too upset, you know, because when people insult me, I don't mind being the underdog, especially if you're insulting me physically, of my physical capabilities. And that's really where I want to be. I want to be where people are assuming the least of me, you know, and the worst of me. Um, but again, some trolls agree. They think Lord Jamar has the right to do demolishment, or they pick right. I heard someone saying in there that I'm doing the same things, changing lessons and stuff. I don't know what lessons they're talking about. You know, I don't know what lessons they're talking about. But anyway, I thought that for me, it was a wonderful closed book for that video, Misunderstandings of Lord Jamal. You know, we have somebody that is really just a grifter. You know, if you want to know how pathetic, how sad, how much of a loser someone is, it's like they deliberately made themselves into this type of person. They will have these views about the earth. They will have these views about mathematics, like controversial enough where you could talk enough about it and yell enough about it, where it seems like you're really, really into this, and poach off the believers. Excuse me, right? Poach off the believers, and one day make it that way. And I mean, that's its own sadness. That's its own patheticness, you know, right? Um, what else can you say about stuff like that? You know what I mean? How you can't be more pathetic than that. You know what I'm saying? And I want to reiterate something. I was teaching my students a music lesson, and I made this point that the greater the quality of the art also means that there is a need for a greater engagement, meaning you have to listen deeper. You have to know more about what is being listened to, like different instruments, the polyrhythms. I'm just giving things, the flows, pockets, techniques, whatever music it would be. When is a solo? If it's a jazz song, is it really the ABBA format? What type of format it is, right? If it's a salsa, when are the choruses coming? The freestyle choruses, the battle choruses, are they hitting their notes? Pitch control, non auto tune. Is it really their voice? The more quality of the art, the more that you have to have an intelligent listener, a very educated listener. The more that you take away from your diet, right? And say, this is bad, it's out. This is bad, it's out. The more educated of an eater you have to be. The more educated you have to go about with how you tackle your diet. So there are just certain things that it doesn't matter if it's art, lifestyle, anything. The more you know, there's just more ability that you need to deal with it. And I told the students that the more complex, the more difficult, the more that there is in a song, the less people, the less simple listeners exist for them. So the more complex the music, the less listeners you're going to get. And this is average. This is not all time. There are people that make very complex music and they have sold times collide perfectly, and Wu-Tang Forever was able to sell 2 million copies, but 4 million copies. But remember that they sold those copies because they made so many other records that were complex still, but they had the shells of some type of street savagery that anyone could relate to or want to relate to. That's important, want to relate to. So, um, Cuban links, for example, right? Why am I saying this now, right? Is because being a 5%er means that you have seen the entire world. You acknowledge that the entire world, on average, very, very large average, 85%, is dealing with a mystery God. And for you to deal with that, you have to change your perspective. It means you will have different viewpoints, not just spiritually, but now it extends to everything because your spiritual views are different. The way that you go about your spiritual view is different. It is scientific and mathematical. Not only that, but more importantly, it is intimate in that you are of what is spiritually sought after. It is you. And so now what happens is it changes the way that you see the world. It changes the way that you see politics, right? Like we were talking about last week, you really don't see um, one major party, Democrat, doing it greater than the other party, or one party having it more sincerity or better angles. And just because the party that was ousted, full of devilishment, they say now it's this guy's turn. Can't wait to see what they'll do better. And you know better. You know that you will not harp on it. You will not sit up at home waiting for a mystery president to bring you the food. And know that whatever immigration problems that were really, really made worse, it's made worse by every president. I mean, immigration is definitely not a Republican or a Democrat thing. This is a thing of everyone dropping the ball, and it just so happens that they do it different ways every 4 years. Every presidency ruins it, either in the same ways or in new ways. But it's definitely not. There's no party that has had a handle on it. None. Um, so we don't assume things. We look at politics and we wait. We do the knowledge. Someone I love was like, man, this Trump man, he just got rid of everybody in the FBI and replaced them. And I said, that's nothing to worry about. That's nothing to worry about because the institution is devilish, right? So if Trump replaces them, that just means that he's going to have them do a particular focus of devilishment. But it won't be anything less devilishment. It certainly can be, most likely, it can be equalized with anything that was ever done. He's fixing the immigration problem. Really? Are we really doing the knowledge? I said this years ago. I said this maybe in classrooms in 2016, 15 maybe. I said that a president is also a leader of a people's sentiment. So the way that they react to things is also the way the public comports themselves. It is not a science of a president. It is the science of leadership. Okay? It is something that Confucius talked about. And every one of my students, that if you're getting books around, I would give you The Great Learning. Very, very short book. Very profound book from Confucius. It's about less than 10 pages. But it is heavy. And it speaks about this, that the people will follow the good leadership. That was a very Confucian thought, that the people will follow if a leader is righteous. And that one model of righteous is what the people will follow. So this concept of the 85 following, submitting, is something that Confucius saw as well. He only spoke about it in a positive way. 120 Lessons speaks about it in a negative way. He spoke about it in a positive way. We see the world differently, and it will take a lot out of you to understand that you will be on the outskirts of many, many issues. You will be seeing more things because you are seeing it as a distant third, literally the third eye. And because of that, you have to take your time. You know what I mean? Okay? You have to look at things, see things differently. Justice Born, thank you, peace. Matt, I think you gave me your number, Matt. I'm looking to give you a call. I have a really big deadline, this book deadline. I have to finish it by this month. I'm definitely writing it by the end of this month. So I have a deadline this month. I got a lot of stuff to do this weekend. So regarding that, I'm gonna try to give you a call so we can build a little bit. Program by Style, you said Peace to God, Sunez. Love the new joint you just dropped. Yes. Did a song, my brother Low Life, Kingdom Come, and what a great song he made. I mean, and just to have him ask me to be on that song that was already his verses were on it, and a Spanish and an English verse that really spoke to the immigrant experience. The brown immigrant can never, especially the brown immigrant out of South America, Latin Caribbean, and Latin America. It's a special type of hell because we're coming to America after we have been hurt by America, after we have been bloodsucked by America. There's a great Dominican scholar. I always forget his name. It's so frustrating. I got to look it up. He called it collateral immigration. It's not intended to be immigrants coming here from those countries, Dominican Republic, or emigrating freely, right? As Boricuas, right? Like us, Boricuas, myself, Guatemalans, Mexicans, Uruguay, Guatemala, Ecuador. But these are countries that the U.S. has engaged in genocides and enabled dictatorships that were genocidal, that Guatemala dealt with ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing. By the way, if you think that Trump's solution to Gaza is anything that helps, then you got lost, right? I just want to mention this. Like, he talked about fixing Gaza and then also getting rid of the Palestinians from Gaza. The solution wasn't the place. No matter how much you bomb Gaza, the place isn't the problem. It's the protection and the care and the need to humanize and treat those Palestinians and bring them peace and the prosperity that they deserve, and not the war and bloodshed and genocide. To say that you will move a people, that literally is the definition. It's actually the definition of ethnic cleansing. Because you intend for someone different to be there, the Israeli Jews, and then you intend to make it wonderful for those people that will replace them. Doesn't matter where you say you'll put them. There's been no record where you'll do good by them. That's literally the definition of ethnic cleansing. So it counters the genocide of one president, Joe Biden, with the concept, the benevolent, I'm being very sarcastic here, the benevolent concept of ethnic cleansing. We got to do the knowledge better. I expect the 85 who basically realized how bad Biden was and just went the other way. But this isn't sports. And yes, the other team is batting now. They're batting the hell out of us. And so it equates with sports. You lost a turn, they go up to bat. But that's not what this is. It's not a game. Never was a game. And as far as um, Latin America, that song I did with him not only shares his experience, his family's experience, right? As but um, but the talks about his parents immigrating. It honors his parents immigrating from Argentina as they were under a oppressive dictatorship, and there is no dictatorship in Latin America that is not U.S. backed and often U.S. generated. So, on that song, I did the build. He just wanted to build about the knowledge. And so I did it to relate it to the black and the brown, blend our seeds, mend our seeds. Because I've seen a lot of hell. But as far as that opening verse, because that opening verse is slow, but it's not spoken word. The opening verse is bars. The end is spoken word. It's really a build. But I mentioned key people, human rights activists in Latin America, Rigoberta Menchú, the famous musician, militant, righteous folk musician Victor Jara, and the great Latin American from Uruguay, historian Eduardo Galeano, who wrote Open Veins of Latin America. That's why I said Rigoberta Menchú tilled the land. Victor Jara strung the plight of man. Victor Jara, um, Victor Jara was a Chilean singer, and he was very activist. His songs would drop jewels, and when they ousted the government there, U.S. backed government, they captured him along with many others and put him in a stadium. To stop, Victor Jara wouldn't stop singing. He wouldn't stop making songs of protest. And before they killed him, they cut off his hands. If I remember correctly, his wife was the one who snuck out of the country his music catalog for the world to hear. Eduardo Galeano wrote Open Veins. Excuse me. Open Veins of Latin America. Beautifully written book. One of the most beautifully written history books you'll ever read. A very rare history book where you're reading it and you're like, this is so beautifully written, but it's so necessary. Anybody that wants to read that, I will send it to you. Just email me. Okay? sunez97@gmail.com. So yeah, this is wonderful doing that song. But guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Just trying to get warm here. It's like the heat only hits one area. Right now I have to stand up to get some. I probably should generate some heat. When I make this plus lesson about the 1 to 10, if anybody has my 1 to 36 build, it's going to be similar to that. I'll see how it goes. But it's really, I look for these things in the 1 to 10. Why are these set of 10 degrees there? Why? who is humanity, first, second degrees, how much of humanity there is, where is the cipher of their reality happening, the earth, square mileage. What is the purpose of this land, the usefulness for each of these peoples? What are the major spiritualities of the people? Right? What are the major spiritualities of the people? And then what is Islam? What is the nature that we deal with, the culture? That is a spiritual culture. And when I mean spiritual culture, and I use the word spiritual, in this, I'm using the definition of matters of God. Matters of God. In matters of God, we're dealing with spiritual concepts. Not religious, not the spiritual type of religion where people are dealing with mystery beings and energies and forces mysteriously and worshiping them or accepting them and bowing to them. The universe does things to you, but just as a marker, a marker. Our knowledge of self deals with spiritual issues in a way that no one else does, or no one else is doing. Or better said, no one else is doing exactly. Right? Malik, peace to God. You said, would the trader be different in Latin America from the one in the God degree in the one in 14? It is different because the slavery was happening in Latin America with the indigenous, but it was happening on their turf. They were made to mine for silver and gold, and they weren't transported anywhere. So a lot of the reference of, where they're going to be taking them somewhere and things like that, that is not exactly relevant. But the ideas of being fooled, the ideas of suffering and interorientation, these are all things that are definitely, definitely relevant, So yeah, it's different. When we deal with the 1 to 36 is specific, very specific, right, to the Black American. It makes certain people that don't know this knowledge, but just see it frivolously and FBA it as a proof that these lessons are only for certain people. In fact, there were certain people that thought this. There's certain people in this nation's history that think that erroneously. That was never the point. The point was this particular teaching, who it was brought to, and then who is expected to share it immediately. And no one is expected to relate. You don't learn from history because you relate to every aspect of it. You learn from history because it shows you all the nature and all of the paths, the many, many possible paths that man can take in their endeavors. So this is important. Every history is important because it's not relevant to the Asian, Indian, Chinese, etc. But in America's history, United States of America's history, once slavery is abolished, they continue it under another form. And that leads to the coolie system. And that was not as horrendous, but in many respects, quite horrible. In Erica Lee's book on Asian American history, she makes note that in certain respects and at certain times, the ships that brought coolies over to America were more crowded than the slave ships that brought Africans here to be slaves, to be forced into slavery. It's saying something there. Doesn't say everything. Doesn't mean that it was harder. Doesn't even mean that the boat ride was harder. Just saying, it was hell. It was hell. So no, the 1 to 36 doesn't really relate directly, but it relates to all oppressed people, even those who aren't oppressed. If oppression exists, then that means its stories relate to all. Because we are all humane. We all have to learn to define what humanity is, and I think that's what's most missing. Certain people telling me they're FBA, we're not the same. They got this knowledge. Certain people telling me you don't know this plight, we're not the same. I explained to 85s, little kids, grown-ups, teenagers. No, see, when Sunez says he's black, let me tell you why. I have to build with them. People are out there teaching black man is God. I'm teaching people why this original man is the black man. Don't tell me I don't have extra things to do with this duty. But what we lose and what we're supposed to have as 5% is the humanity and a constantly developing, expanding, heartful expansion of what humanity is. What is humanity? The worse the world gets, then we must make it. How do we define humanity? What will be the humane way to deal with people? And what will not be the humane way? See, everybody's thinking like, oh, I want to go out there and show and prove that Trump is not right and exact. Be calm. Just wait. They don't have a track record. Everybody that voted for him, no, they can't even find his track record of really building. What we need to seek out, though, is how we deal with people humanely. Let 85. Don't use your knowledge to 10% by looking down on people as if you are above them. It's a wonderful thing, this knowledge of self. But it comes with the burden that it is more complex than we think. It has been simplified by supreme math, but in reality, its applications to real life in this near opposite world, and certainly unforeboding world, is that it is quite complex, and the 5% demand a more complex mind, a mind able to not be simple, no, not be simple, but be able to understand complexity and then simplify it. We are not here to simplify things for ourselves. We are here to understand the complexities of life and simplify them for the betterment of others. Not for the ease of ourselves. That's why it says poor righteous. We are willing to sacrifice even being in a poor state to understand something more complex to honor the principles, however difficult that they may be. Every original man that went and told me that I wasn't as original, well, they failed. They failed miserably. Every original man that just disagreed with me about culture and arts, that oftentimes, not oftentimes, for every 5%, I'd say for every so-called 5% of that spoke to me about hip-hop, not one of them had done anything in hip-hop. Nothing of merit, nothing of note. So that means that certain people, this is an example, and I get to speak on it because it's about a year that has begun in massive negativity. To speak to someone else that's supposedly 5%, supposedly your brother, and then you tell them, well, you're telling lies and trying to steal from the original man. I've ID'd, meaning I've been ID'd, I've been ID'd, I've been identified, I've been attached to, I've been marked with the attributes of a devil. The attributes of a devil. And then they do it with what they think is the scholarship, and it's not, but also the scholarship from a grifter. Right? That Jamar and Tariq on this side, using the names, the titles invented by a grifter, knowing that it would appeal to us, because we always talk about how knowledge is foundation. So if you tell me I'm a foundation, it takes away the history and attachment you have to original peoples. It absolutely separates, because it is not an identification of you, it is an identification of what you have done. That's what people don't understand. The years I've been teaching here, and I told people, yeah, Sunez, I'm Sunez, man. Yeah, I'm Boricua. I'm not separating. I'm telling you a category that is also original. You can't see it here. They don't always see it here. And so I tell them, soy Boricua también. And then by connection, the Boricua is indigenous, Afro, original man, and thus he's the original man, and thus he's the black man. That's not my word saying that. See what I said here? This is what I say. That's not my word saying that. That is 25 years of showing and proving that. The history is there. If I say this is the way I teach, it's not me speaking about a curriculum. It is me now telling you and reminding you of a curriculum that has already been taught for years. So the proof of me doing that is not me saying it. The proof of me has already been out there. So where have we lost this humanity? That we have been oppressed long enough, and you're sick and tired. I find it appalling that we have this knowledge of self, and we have the nerve to be sick and tired. Race fatigue, oppression fatigue. This is why I said it cannot be emotional. Oppression doesn't stop when the 5% get knowledge of self. Oppression stops when all of the people are taught and engage in a righteous, peaceful manner that the 5% can bring to them. You're a 5%er. You said that this was the knowledge of self, this was your duty, and you have the nerve to be tired of being treated in such a way. Let's think about that for a minute. Because I have situations when I'm outside, I've had situations where 85 will want to fight. And I stand my ground. So one time I told 85, just stay out of my personal space. 85 backed up and said, I don't give a damn about your physical space. And started to curse crazy. But look, he was walking. You don't give a damn about my personal space, but you're stepping backwards. And all I could think was, how dare this guy be cursing me? No, that's not what I was thinking. I'm thinking, who is the 85%? Who is the 85%? And he's not in my personal space anymore. So unless he decides to raise a hand at me, I keep my hands here, ready, and I walk away. I walk onward. The man is not in my path. He's insignificant to me. Who is the 85? People on Facebook showing me they don't care about. They want Trump to do what he does. I'm never disappointed in the 85. Disappointed in the 5%. Where's our humanity? 5%ers? You're tired of being oppressed? I know our elders, so many elders have passed away, but that's not what Knowledge Me taught me. Remember the imperfection. It's not what Wise Jamel taught me. Remember the imperfection. That's not what Dumar Badi taught me. Remember the imperfection. That's not what Freedom taught me. Remember the imperfection. Infinite Al-Jamar didn't teach me that. Remember the imperfection. They taught me that when you have a knowledge of self, you better find the joy and the love and the humanity to continue. There needs to be a humanity to change this. Remember when Che Guevara said that there is deep convictions, I'm paraphrasing, of love that propel and guide the revolutionary change of state to what is wrong to what ought to be right. And for us, and exact. So where is your fatigue? Because when I go home, I go, who's the 85, man? It's the 85s, man. You know, I used to come here every day with my elders. And I have a tough time to stand and be like, save your knowledge, go, nah, don't worry, God, that's the 85. Forget that, dig this. Forget that, that's the 85. They do not know their origin in this world. Blind, deaf, and dumb. Without a knowledge of self. What are they supposed to be? If we have the degrees that we show and prove, now we believe we show and prove them, right? Because this is probably what the trolls, they get mad because I don't believe the 120. I don't have to believe a damn thing. We respect who sent it and say, this man has continued to be right, Elijah Muhammad. These elders have taught me they have been right and exact. Then I will take it upon myself to take these lessons and see if they're right and exact. Right? So we show and prove. We showed and proved the lesson. So why are we saying I'm this? Right? I'm FBA because you people don't resent. You know, when we do that, we separate. I mentioned the coolies, right? Live this slavery. A neo really is the coolie history is a neo slavery. And people can say foundational, but if you say foundational, you're foundation to what they wanted, not to what you wanted. We're the foundation for what you built. The labor is the foundation to what was commanded of them. Is that something to use to separate? Because really what I see is people saying, I want my rights of due because I have a hand in constructing this empire. This empire. I helped construct this empire. It's not a cultural definition. It's not a cultural definition. It's not a cultural designation. But again, it's a FBA is from a grifter, a pimp, a hustler, hustled knowledge. We were taught to do the knowledge. We were taught to go back and say, who made this? What's his history? And as good scholars, though, you say if a scholar is wrong and incorrect, here, 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 and here, it's most likely incorrect on there too. Just like Elijah Muhammad's statements were so preposterous, they continue to be true. They continue to be researched true, and we said it might be true. It just might be true because it continues to be true here. We're expecting this nation to continue on, though, and it will not continue without our humanity. And people are continuing to be funny style, and say, I've heard my own, who I thought were my own brothers, but they're just people that I know. They're just good acquaintances. That's what they said. Because if we came up as 5%, if we're 5%, if we came up as Marshall brothers, and then you tell me we are not the same, when your distinct markers are that you're indigenous here and you're not even from Africa, well, I am. That's my heritage. But then you tell me that you are here because you're indigenous to this side of the continent. Well, I am too. So you still can't find how we are different. We're different because I'm not listening to grifters. So no Tariqs, no Dane Callaways, no flat earthers, no idiots talking stuff that they didn't research. Horrid research, YouTube scholarship, embarrassing. And I want to talk about positive things, but this is the positive thing. Find your humanity, because I see people being humane and it's not. I see people being good to who they want to be good to. Showing love to children that they want to show love to. Doing for those deliberately excluding. I go out there, I teach in schools, I teach all the human families. Guatemala, Africa, all the countries in Africa, Ghana, Senegal, right? Ecuador, Uzbekistan, even a little white boy from America. My black American brothers, sisters, their children. We're defining this nation's relevance, though, whether someone like me, think about this. Think how low we have gotten, though. It's not about me. It's about that this would have the nerve to even think this is proper to say that to me, which means it means it for everything. I thought you were a good 5%. You taught so many of our own. Because that's what counts, though. But nobody's ever went, I guarantee you, no one's going up to any other 5% and say, how many Latinos you taught? That only happens when they tell them, you unqualified to teach them. You need to do more work. And you're not always qualified to teach a certain ethnicity just because you dated them. You dated, I got Dominican baby mamas though. That does not help me. That is not the qualifying reality of why I have taught so many Dominicans. No. I spent time with them. I built with them. Treated them like family. Not the ones that I was with. Not the ones that were related to the women I was with. I mean, in general, the people. The camaraderie, the love. We keep talking about all these different things that is wrong with this nation. And all I see is, I don't see any humanity. Everything is so goal-oriented, it's disgusting. Somebody goes, yeah, I'm teaching the babies and everything because we're going to take over. No, this world is not a drug block, okay? It's not a drug block. I'm going to teach all these people, and then I'll have all these people, and we'll have this army here. That was a great way to spread the knowledge. It was excitable. We did it yang, whatever. It does not hold. It does not hold because how do you teach people when they feel that they don't need it? And now this knowledge of self is exactly like great music. Shitty music will get you to dance. It will release your sexuality. And it'll make you feel like you're part of a big group. Those three things. And so bad music, and it's not hard to understand. It's not hard to get with. And so why do we need the better, greater, deeper music? That is where the 5% is at. That is where we are at. We are truthfully at our greatest, though. We are a wonderful, deeper song in a world that doesn't need great music now, doesn't desire it, doesn't care for it, doesn't hear it on the wayside and said, I wish I knew what that was all about. I don't even care what that's all about. I don't even want to know. I know it's there. I don't even want to know. And so what are we doing? Are we adjusting and throwing away our humanity for the deeper reality of life? It seems so. I'm trying. I'm seeking to be positive. This is as positive as I could get. As positive as I could get. that I find it funny is because it's going to happen anyway. Who's the 85, right? If Mega does this misunderstands your Lord Jamal, and instead of seeing that all of the wrong that he's doing, the miseducation that he's deliberately giving out there, all they can point out is the occasional hater goes, we got to get Sunnis out there. And they have no other reason other than I am, damn it, I'm too light skinned. That's it. My nose is too aquiline, maybe. Right? Whatever other reason. Look at themselves. Say, why are we being so colorist? Have all the Black Americans that are my shade all passed for white? Have they all left you? Have they all passed for white? Are these not issues that we all need to deal with? Where is our humanity? We hated that. We hated that. Judging people, original people, by the darkness of their skin. The Father had us roll in threes, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, so that way we could identify when the darkness is being oppressed and we could adjust. Now it's the opposite. We need the lightest to be in the cipher to remind ourselves to not throw away our humanity. We are using guidelines of judgment. This is why I talk about the P.E.A.C.E. We're using guidelines of judgment that have nothing to do with this knowledge. Because the Black American is not it assumes that they're a foundation that was untampered with. In other words, whatever they did it by themselves. And that whatever they did, they have rights to. No one has rights to an oppressive empire. No one. No one does. The devils that own it, the Musk, the Trumps, everyone, they do not have the right to any of this. The lineage of all my Black brothers, Black American brothers that go back to slavery building all this, they do not have the right to an oppressive empire. They have the right to topple it. We have the right to a knowledge of self, and that's what we learned. That's what we learned. No, we weren't told this. We weren't indoctrinated with this. We were taught this. We learned it. We were in this classroom with elders, all of us together, and we learned this. We learned this. We fought together in the street, and we learned this, and we taught this. We went back home, and we got more books to learn it better. Some of us never stopped getting the books. Some of us never stopped teaching. Some of us adjusted to the life of constantly losing people that refuse to not quit in this. People know me. People know I've given up whole family. Whole family. Family members. Wives. Earths. I've given everything away for this knowledge. The minute people deal with a mystery God with me, it's fine. You may see your exits. You have been shown everything. This wasn't supposed to be the easy way. So why are we complaining that it's so hard? Why are we complaining that it is so hard? This is my point. You know, and as I go along, there'll be more to say about the 1 to 10 because I went off on another riff here. This has been. I have never in my whole over half my life have been a 5%er. I've known I am God, shown and proven, and I've never dealt with so much negativity from my own kind. My own kind, meaning the 5%. Are you really teaching? You really know how many people can't be 5% but are led by you? You'll never, unless I call you a devil straight up, if we disagree about something that is historical, technical, I will denounce you with all the research I have, show and prove I'm right and exact. But I never turn to another 5%er unless they did devilishment and told them, you're telling lies, stealing from the original man. Never did that. And it's like these 5%ers, they're not here either. They're not here either. They're not supporting anything I do in the street. They're not supporting anything I do in hip hop. They're not supporting anything we do in the school. And if I find out, they're probably opening their mouth with my name in their mouth when I'm not around. They're not being 5%ers, though. I hear people telling me I shouldn't teach, though. More than one 5%er told me it's easier to just not teach because they're not learning. Don't teach the 85. They don't learn anymore. I don't like what you said, Sunez. I can't dispute anything. I'm just disagreeing with it. I don't think you should talk about that anymore. Even though it's my profession, it's my work. 30 years of hip hop, right? Books, music, magazines, newspapers, everything. Research. Quit. Leave it alone. Because it's too damn hard. That's where we're at. It's too damn hard. It's easier to piggyback. Oh boy, and I've never used a pun that I mean so much. Piggyback. Swine back. Swine back. Swine back on top of a grifter and ride that to your freedom. Someone else tried to tell me, Sunez, I see you, an elder told me, I see you in a lot of this stuff going back and forth. I don't like the division stuff. I said, you need to know where this problem came from. Because I'll take no blame as an inciter of it. We need our humanity. And I'm saying one thing. If you don't have it, if I see anyone coming at this, engaging in any cipher I'm in an inhumane way, this is what we're dealing with. And I will deal with it as best as I can. And it is not easy, this life. Do not cop out because it's difficult. Leave it completely. But do not say that you are this and then complain that it is hard. We are supposed to have deeds that are extraordinary. If I say I'm Sunez, I have taught here nearly every Thursday. At least, I'm going to say, I'm going to lowball it, at least 48 Thursdays of every year, the last 25 years. It's not supposed to be easy. And so I will never complain about that. But I am disgusted at the lack of humanity of those wearing this, wearing this. I look, I see what they write, I see what they say, and I don't see any humanity. You saying you're God, and you couldn't be put in a room. You would fall in a room with all of humanity. If all of humanity was in one room for you, you would fall and crumble. This is the thing. Are you strong enough to have all of humanity in one room and guide them to a righteous way? Are you the peace? Peace. Peace. The lack of confusion via the depth of knowledge expressed simply, succinctly, briefly, and wonderfully to destroy all of the negativity and bring everything up. The truth is, we would never, most of these so-called 5%ers and too many 5%ers that I see, they don't even think like that. They would never want to be in a room with all of humanity. But if you say you're the true and living God of not just this room, that block, this country, but the universe, then you need to start moving like all of humanity is in this one room and you are guiding it. Because you damn sure love to get on social media that yells to the whole world, say the most foul, inhumane things. I read people, and I read people building prison houses for themselves to lock themselves up and breed themselves out. And it is disgusting. That's my most positive message here. Where is our humanity? Find it and share with it. Share with it, because we will lose it. Humanity is a thing that can be lost. You could be desensitized to it. The truth is, on some level, everyone that said, oh, I'm going to go with Trump because at least it's different than Biden. Or I'm going to go with Harris because I can't trust. If you even chose one of them, you understand that you lost some of your humanity. That you made a choice. You made a choice to say it's okay to kill those people here because both of them are doing it and have X'd out. That's a neutral point of humanity. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. You may have your reasons. What I'm saying is you have to remind yourself that there are certain actions designed to rob us of our humanity. Right now, that is the most pressing issue. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to read through these comments and I'm going to try to answer them quick, and then I'll travel out of here. All right, peace to God. And Mega, you did a great job with that video. Mena Dose, you said, peace God, I had two topics I haven't seen much build on. If you could teach on them. What happened to the firstborn lessons and how did they become the current 120? I don't know what you mean by firstborn lessons. Maybe you can email me on that so we could build further. Sunez97@gmail.com. You know, the firstborn, they were getting the lessons from the father, though, word of mouth, and they were piecing them together, though, if that's what you mean, though. Okay. And the 48th degree breakdown of Musa. Musa was a half original man. Okay. Doesn't mean that he was white. It means that he was teaching righteousness and devilishment. I'm going simple here. That's really the crux of that. Jay, most important, learn now what not to do. We would hope so. G1, you said, is it our duty to keep our brother from going astray and dealing with another way of life? Or do we separate ourselves and only be the savior? And no, I've had to leave these brothers alone, G1. I have to let them go. I can't be convincing. I was told this whole God thing, 5% thing is no good. Then you're telling me you're not. You telling me you're not? These are people I don't even know what to call them. I don't even know their honorable names. Like I don't even know what to call them. I only know their 5% names. I know them for years and years. I'm not here to teach them. I teach children. I teach my children. I teach other kids' children. I teach the builders, the people that build, that create things. I don't have time to be teaching. I saw one comment in the Inf Mega Misunderstandings of Lord Jamal video on the Allah School Mecca page channel. I said, oh, I hope the brother goes to Allah School in Mecca so he can learn the right way. Learn the right way? He comes here, he's going to have to apologize. How dare I waste time teaching someone that was around so many great learnings? So many great learnings. That's like me being, that's like, how many years do I get to play next to Michael Jordan and I still can't shoot a lick? It's time to give up the game. And Julia, you're right. We didn't separate from Jamal. Jamal separated himself. Knowledge was just made born. I never saw that video where P.E.A.C.E, and I don't know what P.E.A.C.E you're talking about, said he was more God because he was blacker, but some idiots talk that way. Some idiots talk that way. All right. Piece of self-magnetic, my brother Infinite Mind. Yep, straight from the teaching, started taking unmixed instructions, right? That God, the green, the one, the 14 colons grafted. We came from the original, or we came from black. Meanwhile, completely ignoring the third degree, the one, the 14, the 6,000 years, which was 10,000 years before the grafting process. How many? And it's like, how many times do we have to say that, Infinite Mind? It's not that if they can't read into it, then they're gonna write out of it. Then they're gonna speak out of it if they can't read into it. All those who were destroyed, right? Summer of Soul was a really nice documentary. I liked it a lot. I liked the Ray Barretto part. They didn't go too deep about the connections that Ray Barretto really had. Like just that alone would have shown the soul connection because Ray Barretto played on a lot of great jazz records. He played on Kenny Burrell records. A lot of guys. I can't even name them all. But it's a really nice documentary, And yeah, they really filled it up. It was Mount Moore, so it was really nice. I watched it and I was looking for gods, but I didn't see any in the clips though. You know what I mean? But anyway, thank you for the comments, the builds. Email me sunez97@gmail.com. And if you think I go home angry and stuff, I go and I leave with so much love because look, there's brothers like Infinite Mind, there's brothers like King Kamal, there's so many brothers that the quality of love that I get from my brothers is more important to me than the quantity of togetherness that is a facade. It is the quality of love, and that is in abundance in my life, And when people are more devilish outright to me, I fight back, but then I go deeper into my hole and create more. And we'll see that. We'll see that soon. Man, when it comes to that, I'm brick. But you know what though? I just keep saying to myself, I love my polo and I get to wear these nice gooses and stuff. And yo, it's so cold out here. I was about to throw another 300 and get another goose. You know what I'm saying? I was like, motivate me to walk in this damn cold. There's another goose, but I'm gonna let y'all go. I got a real serious writing weekend. to finish this book. Um, that has to be finished by February. So I'm going to work to reach out to everybody on the side while I'm doing that. So it's going to be really intense. Great stuff. But I really like the emails everybody's sending me. A lot of heart. Fight for this. Fight for this. Fight for the truth. Fight for it. You know what I mean? Um, and when it comes to politics, like I built on last week, take your time and do the knowledge. Find better sources, though. Don't just interpret the source. Don't interpret the news piece. I always assume that the news piece is giving you some of the information, all of it. All right. With that said, that's the equality. Love. Right? Peace.